Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I want to share something very personal. As you see in the title of this video, it's about Moksha. The way I live my life these days is like completely different from the way I lived before. Not because like my circumstances changed dramatically, but because my perspective changed. So the moksha is one of the concepts that deeply influenced me. Maybe like 1.5 2 years ago, I read it, found it from the words. I found it in the internet. First time I curious like what is that moksha. So I check in the chat GPT and I have a spiritual journey, and then I found it and I read it, and I think it's like, I'm not here to teach religion or spirituality, but I'm kind of like simply sharing how understanding this idea changed my life, the way I see relationships, success, and even my own happiness. Before I understood this concept about moksha, I was constantly holding on to things, like holding on to people, holding on to expectation, holding on to plans, holding on to the idea that certain things belong to me. I believe that if I work hard enough, love enough, or care enough, I could keep everything exactly the way I wanted. But life kept teaching me otherwise. People leave, plans change, opportunities come and go. Even our own emotions are temporary. The more I tried to control everything, the more exhausted I became. I was carrying the weight of things that were never truly mine to carry. Then I came across the idea of moksha. And one of the simplest way I understand about moksha is like nothing in this world truly belongs to us. Not our positions, not our achievements, not even the people we love. Everything comes into our lives for a period of time. And one day, everything will leave. At first, like this idea sounds so sad, right? Like surprisingly, it became one of the most freeing realizations of my life. Because if nothing belongs to me, then I don't need to live in constant fear of losing it, right? Think about that for a moment. So much of our anxiety comes from the fear of losing a relationship, losing money, losing car, losing status, losing youth, losing opportunities. But what if these things were never ours in the first place? What if we were only meant to experience them? What if life is less about ownership and more about appreciation? That realization changed everything inside of me. Today, I still love people deeply, but I don't try to possess them. I still work hard for that, okay? But I don't tie my entire identity to something to success or something, but I still have dreams. I don't let my happiness depend on whether they happen exactly the way I planned. I've learned to enjoy things while they are here, and when they leave, I try to let them go with gratitude. Of course, I'm still human. There are days when I become attached. Okay, there are days when I feel disappointed. There are days when I want things to go my way, but now I catch myself sooner. I remind myself that life is constantly changing. Nothing stays forever. And somehow that truth gives me peace. And one of the biggest changes I've noticed in me is how much I feel lighter. I feel lighter. Before, I carried invisible burdens everywhere. I worried about future. I replayed the past. I tried to control outcomes. Now I spend more time living in the present moment. I enjoy simple things more. A quiet morning, a cup of tea or coffee, a walk outside, a meaningful conversation, watching the sunset. The things I once overlooked have become the things I value most. And I understand Moksha didn't make me stop caring, It made me care differently. I care without clinging. I love without trying to own. I appreciate without demanding permanence. And honestly, that has made my life much more beautiful. I've also become less afraid of uncertainty, because uncertainty is simply part of life, right? We never really know what tomorrow will bring. We can plan, we can prepare, but we cannot control everything. Once I accepted that, I stopped fighting reality. Instead of asking, how can I make everything stay the same? I start asking, how can I fully experience this moment while it's here? That question changed the way I live. Sometimes people think letting go means giving up. But for me, letting go is not giving up. It's trusting life. It's accepting change. It's understanding that happiness doesn't come from possessing things. It comes from experiencing them with gratitude. Today, I don't feel like I own anything. And strangely, that's why I feel richer than before. Every person in my life feels like a gift. Every opportunity feels like a gift. Every experience feels like a gift, because I no longer assume it will be there forever. When you stop expecting permanence, you begin appreciating presence. And that is a beautiful way to live, I think. If there's one thing I'd like you to take away from this episode, it's about try holding life a little bit more gently. Love people deeply. Pursue your dreams, work hard, create beautiful memories, but remember that everything is temporary. And maybe that's exactly what makes life so precious. So thank you for listening, and wherever you are right now, I hope you find peace, gratitude, and the freedom that comes from letting go. See you in the next video. Bye.